Sofia the First, Amulet Adversity by Daisy Montano. During the 41 years of being trapped inside the Amulet of Avalor, Princess Elena had chosen princesses to wear it to see who had what it took to release her, and the only princess to do that was Sofia. But Amber wonders why Elena never picked her to wear the amulet. Prologue. A long time ago, a magical jewel was made by the Maruvians, and it was called the Amulet of Avalor. This ruby-red jewel would protect its bearer from harm, and it was a family heirloom to the royals of Avalor, passed down from generation to generation. Queen Lucia used to wear the amulet until she gave it to her daughter, Princess Elena, on her 15th birthday. But sometime after Elena turned 16, Avalor was invaded by an evil power-hungry sorceress named Shuriki, who killed Lucia and King Roll. Elena bravely chose to face Shuriki by herself, so that the rest of her family would be spared. When Shuriki tried to kill Elena, the amulet saved her life by pulling her inside it, and that's when the amulet turned amethyst purple. The only way Elena could get out of the amulet was if another princess wore the jewel and was tested to see if she had what it took to get Elena out. When Elena was inside, she had a motto: with each deed performed, for better or worse, a power is granted, a blessing or curse. She would grant whoever wore the amulet the power depending on how good or bad the deed was, not to mention best based on the deed performed. If the bearer performed a good deed, Elena would grant him or her a blessing, but if the bearer performed a bad deed, she would put a curse on him or her. Almost none of the princesses who wore the amulet had what it took to free Elena. Duchess Matilda, older sister to King Roland II, wore the amulet for some time until she took it off, and it wound up in the jewel room of Vincentia Castle. Roland had a twin son and daughter named Amber and James, and Elena never chose Amber to wear the amulet because Roland spoiled his daughter very much. Amber didn't know the first thing about being kind, much less doing good deeds. So Elena knew that if Amber wore the amulet, she'd put several curses on the bratty princess for every bad deed she'd done. One day, Roland got married to a shoemaker named Miranda, who had a daughter named Sofia. Elena knew Sofia had the princess to free her. So when Roland was picking out a welcome gift for Sofia, Elena made the amulet glow, meaning she wanted Sofia to wear the amulet. Throughout Sofia's first 2 years of being a princess, Elena tested the little girl. When the time came, Sofia learned the true story of the amulet, and she had decided to get Elena out. Once in Avalor, she got help from Matteo and the Jacquees. She stole Shuriki's wand because she needed it to get Elena out of the amulet. Sofia, Matteo, and the Jacquees flew to the ancient civilization of Maru, and Sofia swam through the enchanted waters to the statue of Aziluna, after turning into a mermaid, of course. She placed the amulet and wand on the crown of the statue, and after it emerged from the water, Elena was free from the amulet after being trapped for 41 years. Elena was trapped inside the amulet for so long that the magic rubbed off on her, and the jewel turned ruby pink. Elena was beyond grateful for what Sofia did, and with the help of Sofia's family and the brave people of Avalor, Elena overthrew Shuriki. Sofia decided to return the amulet to Elena, but the latter decided to let the former keep it, and Elena had seen enough of the amulet for the rest of her life. Sofia still couldn't believe what had happened, and she felt lucky to have such a wonderful jewel with an amazing backstory. Her friends at Corinthian Sports School were amazed by how she'd saved Elena, not to mention her kingdom. But while it was perfectly obvious, some might ask one question: why didn't Elena pick Amber to wear the amulet? Amber wonders. It was another typical day in Enchantia, and Amber had friends over. There was Princess Taylor, who was currently attending Everalm Academy with her. There was Princess Hildegard of Friesenberg, Princess Cleo of Corinthia. These two princesses previously went to the Royal Preparatory Academy with Amber before graduating. Now Hildegard attended the School of Royal Fashions. Cleo was at the Performing Arts Academy. So how's everything at your schools? Amber asked her friends. Just perfect, Amber, Hildegard replied. I modeled 3 beautiful dresses this week, and I'll be playing the lead in an upcoming play at Performing Arts, Cleo said. By the way, Amber, what are your siblings up to? Tyler asked. Right now, James is at Chivalry Hall, having some kind of team. And Sofia has friends over from the Corinthian Sports School, Amber said. Suddenly a girl's voice rang out. Oh, that's pretty. The court had reached a corner and looked around. It was Sofia and her friends from Corinthian Sports, including her best friend and boyfriend, Prince Hugo. Hugo even brought his pet alpaca Mundi, Turquoise. They were looking at the portrait of the royal family. In this portrait, Sofia was still in the first purple dress she'd worn as a princess. The amulet was purple, meaning this portrait was painted before she released Elena. That portrait was painted the weekend of my royal debut ball, Sofia recalled. I hadn't met Hugo yet. Wow, pretty dress, Turquoise smiled. It makes you look like a human bucket of lavender. Thank you, Turquoise, Sofia smiled. It looks like you have a different amulet in this picture, Raphael pointed out. No, that's the same amulet she's wearing right now, Hugo said. Remember? Sofia told you that an older princess was trapped inside the amulet and changed color. Oh, that's right, Linda said. When Princess Elena was trapped inside the amulet, she tested many princesses to see if they had what it took to get her out, Sofia said. I don't know how many princesses she tested, but the ones I know were Princess Charlotte of Isleworth and my step-aunt Tilly. What about your sister Amber? Karen asked. Not really, Sofia said. She did wear the amulet when she stole it from me when Elena was still inside, but Elena never actually picked her to wear it. Little did Sofia know that her sister and her friends were nearby, listening to the conversation. Amber knew that Elena never picked her to wear the amulet. She was beginning to wonder why. Why not? Turquoise asked. Back then Amber was a real spoiled brat, especially when I came to her castle, Sofia recalled. I guess Elena was sure that Amber never even had what it took to wear the amulet, much less get her out. I guess you're right, Sophie, Hugo agreed. If Amber had worn the amulet, Elena would have cursed her for every bad deed she'd performed. You're probably right, Hugo, Sophia agreed. Amber couldn't believe what she just heard. When she first learned that Sophia's amulet was magical, she was jealous of her sister. Now she was happy for her. She no longer desired a magical amulet of her own. But now the jealousy had come back because Elena never did pick her to wear the amulet. Taylor, Hildegard, and Cleo turned to Amber and saw the look on her face, seeing how she was feeling. Amber, are you okay? Cleo asked. The sound of Cleo's voice snapped Amber out of her thoughts. Oh yes, Cleo, I'm fine, she chuckled nervously. I mean, why wouldn't I be? The four friends continued their fun, but Amber could barely concentrate. She was too busy thinking about why Elena never picked her to wear the amulet. She saw a nearby portrait of herself in a bright yellow dress with the green sash, her new earrings and necklace, and her emerald tiara. This portrait was painted not too long before Sofia was the protector of the emerald. Amber felt a twinge of jealousy at Elena for skipping her for Sofia. What's wrong, Amber? Taylor asked. Yes, you've been sulking an awful lot, Hildegard noted. Oh, I was just thinking about Princess Elena of Avalor, Amber declared. Well, I can't say I blame you, Taylor said. I can't believe she was trapped inside Sofia's amulet for 41 years. Yes, and she picked many princes to wear it, but not me, Amber ranted. She picks Aunt Tilly to wear the amulet, but she skips me and chooses Sofia to wear it. Why wouldn't Elena pick me? Taylor, Hildegard, and Cleo realized that Amber was very angry with Elena for not picking her to wear the amulet of Avalor. Hildegard wasn't so sure, but Taylor and Cleo knew why. Well, Amber, Sofia and Hugo are right, Cleo shrugged. I mean, you were a petty spoiled brat back then, and if you had worn the amulet, Elena would have cursed you. For what? Amber glared. You're the one who started the rumors about Vivian in the first place, Cleo pointed out. Also, whenever someone fumbled, you made fun of them behind their back, even when it was your own brother. Plus, you got really upset at someone for doing even the smallest thing wrong, like getting a tiny little stain on your dress and skin. Also, you were very rude to Sofia the very minute she came to live in your castle. But I'm not like that anymore, Amber defended herself. Doesn't Elena know that? I mean, it was during my first trip to the Mystic Isles that I learned to put other folks' needs before my own, and that material wishes aren't that important. Wasn't that after Sofia freed Elena from the amulet? Taylor asked. There's no way Elena saw that. Amber realized that she didn't get that character development until sometime after Sofia freed Elena from the amulet. You're right, she realized. I'm overreacting. I mean, it's nothing to be upset about over, right? But the truth was that she was still upset that Elena never picked her to wear the amulet. Amber gets her chance. That evening, after dinner, Sofia was in her room when she heard a knock on her bedroom door. Enter, she called. The door opened and in came Amber. It's me, she smiled. How was your day with your friend, Sofia? Just fine, Amber, Sofia smiled. How was your day? Oh, great, Amber smiled nervously. We saw you showing the portrait from the weekend of your royal debut ball. We heard you talking about the princesses who wore the amulet, including you and Aunt Tilly. Well, Princess Elena needed the female descendants of Aunt Tilly's to wear the amulet, and you're just the only one who could do that. Sofia was starting to realize that Amber was upset that she was never one of the princesses to wear the amulet of Avalor. Amber, you're mad at Princess Elena because she never picked you to wear the amulet, right? she guessed. What? No, of course not, Amber lied. I mean, I didn't even have what it took to wear the amulet, which is why Elena never picked me. Sofia was sensing that Amber wanted to wear the amulet. She knew what Amber would try. She knew that Amber would try to take it from her, which meant the amulet would curse her. So there was only one thing she could do. Okay, Amber, listen to me carefully. I'll let you wear my amulet all day tomorrow, she said. Really? Amber beamed. Oh, thank you, Sofia. But the morning after tomorrow, you have to return it to me, Sofia continued. Deal? Deal, Amber smiled. Okay, Sofia said. The very next morning, Amber was in Sofia's room. Sofia took the amulet off and put it on her sister. Oh, thank you, Sofia, Amber gushed. No problem, Sofia smiled. Now remember, Amber, don't take the amulet off, much less let it out of your sight. I promise, Amber nodded. Thank you. She happily dashed out of Sofia's room. Sofia was pleased to see Amber happy, but she hoped that her sister would promise to leave the amulet in her sight, not to mention returning to her. Meanwhile, Amber retreated to her bedroom and she looked at the reflection in the mirror. Oh, it feels so good to wear this amulet, even if Princess Elena isn't in there, Amber told herself. The best part is that I can wear it for a full day. Wait until the girls hear about this. After breakfast, Hildegard, Cleo, and Taylor came over. Greetings, Amber, Hildegard smiled. Then she noticed the amulet. Oh, you have a new necklace. It looks like Sofia's amulet, Cleo said. That's because it is Sofia's amulet, Amber said. Hearing this made Cleo wonder if Amber had stolen the amulet from Sofia. Oh, Amber, you didn't, she frowned. No, I didn't steal the amulet from Sofia, Amber said. She let me borrow it. Amber, you guilt-tripped Sofia into letting you wear her amulet, didn't you? Taylor asked. Okay, yes, I made Sofia feel so guilty that she decided to let me wear her amulet, but she made me promise to give it back tomorrow, Amber said. A little later, Sofia was in her room when there was a knock on the door. Enter, she called. In entered Hugo and Turquoise. Hi, Sophie, he smiled, but then he noticed that Sofia wasn't wearing her amulet. Sophie, do you know that I'm not wearing my amulet? Sofia finished. Yes, Amber guilt-tripped me last night and I decided to let her wear it, mostly because I had a feeling that she'd steal it from me and it would put a curse on her. Are you sure it's a good idea to let Amber wearing it? Turquoise asked. You said that it's a very powerful device and you should never take it off because there are maybe someone out there after it. Well, she had lots of character development, so hopefully she won't mess around with its magic, Sofia said. Later, everyone got together for lunch when Bailey came in. Princesses Amber and Sofia, this letter from Princess Adara of Kensington arrived for you, he said. Thank you, Bailiwick, Amber smiled. She opened the letter and her face lit up. Oh, Adara invited me and Sofia to a sleepover tonight. Sounds good, Hildegard smiled. Well, I'd like to go, Amber, but Hugo and I are already going to have a sleepover in the Mystic House with the other protectors, Sofia said. And aren't you supposed to return the amulet to Sofia first thing tomorrow morning? James pointed out. She can return it to me when we're both at the Incensia Castle, Sofia said. Thank you, Sofia, Amber smiled. Okay, but how can you summon a unicorn without your amulet? James said. The protectors did say they'd send us unicorns to fly onto the Mystic House, Hugo said. Well, okay, James shrugged. And it sounds like you'll be having your own sleepover with Axel, Hugo cooed with Turquoise. Yay, Turquoise smiled. The amulet is gone. That evening, Amber made it to Kensington Castle, and there was Princess Adara, and other royal friends came too. Hey folks, Adara smiled. Oh, Amber, I like your necklace. Thank you, Adara, but it's not mine, Amber smiled back. It belongs to Sofia. Meanwhile, Sofia and Hugo made it to the Isle of Protectors in the Mystic Isles. Sofia, Hugo, welcome, Vega smiled. Kaisa noticed that Sofia's amulet was gone. Where's your amulet, girl? She asked. My sister guilt-tripped me into letting her borrow it because Princess Elena never picked her to wear it, Sofia replied. Why not? Orion asked. Just a minute, you can explain it after we're in our pajamas. Soon enough, all the protectors were in their pajamas. And Sofia was explaining why Elena never picked the Amber to wear the Amulet of Avalor. And so I had already released her from the Amulet a few months before Amber and I even came to the Mystic Isles, so she barely witnessed Amber's character development, she finished. I hope Amber doesn't do anything drastic with that amulet, Hugo said. When she first learned that it was magical, she wanted one of her own so badly that she caused a lot of trouble throughout the Isles, such as destroying a bridge, which could have cost Sofia her life. Orion finished. He remembered saving Sofia when she fell off the bridge that connected the Isles of Crystals and Dancing Deserts when Amber broke the bridge with the Shatterstone because it wouldn't give her any magical powers like Sofia's amulet. Meanwhile, in Kensington Palace, the girls were having a good time. Amber was decorating a fan when she looked down and saw Sofia's amulet. While Elena was already free from the jewel, it made Amber happy that her sister trusted her with her most prized possession. But the girls decided to have a necklace fashion show, and Amber wanted to take part. So she took off the amulet, something Sofia told her not to do at all. The next morning, all the girls woke up and changed clothes, and Amber had completely forgotten about Sofia's amulet. Soon enough, Amber made it back to Enchantia Castle, but when she saw Hugo and Sofia there, she remembered something. Uh-oh, Amber gulped. Sofia! She placed her hand on her chest and saw that her amulet was gone. The amulet, it's gone. Oh, why did I take it off? Amber was in hot water. If Sofia found out Amber had taken off the amulet, let alone lost it, she'd lose her mind. Amber had to make sure Sofia didn't see her, let alone ask for the amulet back. Sofia entered the castle and Amber hurried to her bedroom. Amber made it to her room and got her luggage there, but she left the door open for someone to see. Amber, Hugo's voice rang out. Amber jumped at the sound of Hugo's voice. Oh, good morning, Hugo, she chuckled nervously. Hugo looked at Amber's chest and saw that she wasn't wearing Sofia's amulet. Amber, what happened to Sofia's amulet? He asked. Oh, you're wondering where Sofia's amulet is, Amber said nervously. And she'll be wondering why it's taking you so long to return it to her. You made a deal, Hugo said. Hugo, please promise me that you won't tell Sofia what happened, Amber said. I don't think I can keep that promise, Hugo frowned. She's my girlfriend, and she'd kill me if I lie to her. Just tell me where the amulet is. Okay, fine, Amber sighed. I lost the amulet. What? Hugo gasped. We were having a fashion show with Adara's necklaces. I wanted to participate in it, so I took the amulet off and left it somewhere in Adara's castle, Amber continued. Then I completely forgot about it afterwards. You what? Sofia's voice rang out. Amber and Hugo jumped at the sound of Sofia's voice. They turned and saw her by the bedroom door. Sofia had heard everything, and she was furious. Oh, good morning, Sofia, Amber smiled nervously. I told you not to take my amulet off, Amber, not to mention it out of your sight, Sofia said angrily. What were you thinking? I guess I didn't think to put the amulet in my luggage, Amber smiled nervously. You're not supposed to take the amulet off in the first place, Sofia snapped. I trusted you. Oh yeah, Amber said. Now I have to go to Kensington Castle to find my amulet. That includes you because you're the one who lost it in the first place, Sofia snapped. Okay, Amber sighed. Let's go, Hugo said. Hugo and the sisters went outside, climbed in a coach, and flew off to Kensington Castle. All is good. In no time, the trio made it to Kensington Castle. Oh, hi, folks, Adara waved. What's going on? I lost Sofia's amulet somewhere in the castle, Adara, Amber said. Have you seen it? Not since last night, Adara shrugged. Come to think of it, we've been in a few different rooms during the sleepover last night. You mean we'll have to search the whole castle until we find it? Hugo gulped. Relax, Hugo, Amber shrugged. It can't be that hard to find that jewel. Do you remember at least some of the rooms you were in last night, Adara? Sofia asked. We were in the observatory when we had our fashion show, Adara recalled. Let's go, Hugo said. Hugo and the girls went up to the observatory, where the beds had stayed. We have to search the entire observatory? Amber gulped. I wouldn't complain if I were you, Amber, Hugo frowned. Neither would I, Sofia glared. You know, the only reason I let you borrow my amulet in the first place was so you wouldn't even think about stealing it from me, and it would have put the curse on you for that. You should have accepted the reason why Princess Elena never paid you to wear it. Okay, let's get searching, Adara said awkwardly. Everyone got searching, but Ever felt terrible for guilt-tripping Sofia into letting her wear the amulet in the first place. Hugo saw that Amber was a little sad. What's wrong, Amber? Hugo asked. I've been a horrible sister, Amber sighed. I was jealous at Elena for not letting me wear the amulet, and I guilt-tripped Sofia into letting me wear it only to lose it, so I could participate in a fashion show. I can never be a good sister. Amber, that's not true, Hugo said. I've seen you care for Sofia before. You have? Amber asked. Yes, you didn't like when I made her fall off Minimos during her first flying derby tryout race, Hugo recalled. You called Hildegard out for telling her that King Roland isn't her real father. You even encouraged her to pair up with me when I first tried out Enchanted Ice Dancing. Well, she's the reason I've changed so much, Amber said. Then she turned to Sofia and saw Sofia by her side. Oh, Sofia, I'm sorry. It's okay, Amber, Sofia said. Well, I'm gonna fix it, Amber said. Adara, the jewelry in the jewel room is color-coded, right? Light to dark, dull to bright, Adara smiled. Why do you ask? I have an idea, Amber said. You and Hugo should go and find the amulet in the jewel room, specifically in the red and pink jewels. If the amulet glows, it should be easier to find. Sofia and I will stay here and keep looking. If it's not in any of these rooms, we'll all look in Adara's bedroom. Great idea, Amber, Hugo smiled. Let's go, Adara instructed. She and Hugo went off to the jewel room. In the jewel room, Adara and Hugo saw how many jewels there were, and they were all organized by color. Luckily, the red and pink jewels are the first by the door, Adara said. She and Hugo looked in the pink and red jewels when a glowing pink jewel caught their eyes. That must be the amulet, Hugo surmised. When the jewel stopped glowing, he said, "It is the amulet." He picked up the jewel and spoke into his enchantlet. "Sofia, we found the amulet. We'll meet you in the observatory." "Okay, now that we've got the amulet, let's go," Adara said. She and Hugo left the jewel room and locked it up. When Adara and Hugo met up with the sisters, Hugo handed Amber the amulet. She put it back on her sister. "I'm sorry I lost it in the first place," Sofia, Amber sighed. "Should have taken better care of it." "It's okay, Amber," Sofia said. "I'm just glad we found it, especially before an evil wizard got their hands on it so they could take over the kingdom." "That would have been awful," Hugo said. Not that I'll ever want to wear your amulet again, but next time I'm going to be more careful when I borrow someone's stuff," Amber promised. "Plus, there are reasons we have to accept." "That's the spirit, Amber," Hugo smiled. "Well, we should get a move on. I told my parents I'd be home after the sleepover, and they're probably wondering where I am." "Thanks for helping, Adara," Amber waved. Hugo, Sofia, and Amber got into the flying coach and flew to Enchantia. Hugo left his suitcase there, so he needed to pick it up before flying to his palace. "Maybe one day you'll show Elena your character development," Sofia told her sister. "Come to think of it, she said something about the big test she has to pass to become Queen of Avalor. Do you think she'll need help with that?" Hugo asked. "I don't know," Sofia said. She thought her big test was defeating Shuritki permanently, but it wasn't, and that's not because you killed her off. "Well, whatever this test is, we should all be ready when Elena needs us," Amber said. "Right," Hugo agreed. Amber learned a big lesson here, actually two lessons. First of all, she learned not to waste her time fretting over something that never happened, especially if there was a reason for it. Second, she learned to be more careful when borrowing someone's stuff. There was no way she was going to borrow Sophia's amulet again, but she would remember this.